Yeah, just how much of a concern was that concession of 3-12, Ger? I mean, I know it's early days yet, obviously, in the season, but I mean, looking back to last season in the Championship, I think he only conceded 2 goals throughout the entire campaign. So, how do you go about addressing that?
Well, I think it was maybe in the way that the game went. We took the game to them at the start, and actually we got 2 goals ourselves early in the game, and I think they just threw caution to the wind at that stage, and they came at us, and they had backs attacking, and they had midfielders attacking, and I think it left openings at the other end of the field, and I suppose that's the reason that we got outscored the other side. But it is a worry, I suppose. At the same time, we were trying a few new players and players out of position. Actually, the last day we started with Owen Cadigan. First game started with Cork for a while, and we had Aidan Walsh coming through from the under-21s, and 2 of those did quite well. We were missing Alan O'Connor from midfield, and we're missing quite a lot of players, I suppose. If I count them out, I suppose we'd have anything up to 10 players out through injury at the moment. But as I say, we're not too worried about it, really. We went up there maybe to experiment to a certain extent, and I know we conceded the 3-12, and that was unfortunate, something to work on. But the 2 points was satisfying, and it was the most encouraging part of the day to pick up our 2 points and move on. Mentioned already Aidan Walsh, and I suppose that was our first time in years playing an under-21 player at this time of the year, because our policy there over the number of years would be to allow the under-21 players stay with the under-21 management and get ready for their championship, which they're playing against Kerry in a few weeks' time. But we needed a bit of strength, and we took Aidan, and he did very, very well. This weekend now will be no different. We've maybe a few new names that have come through this weekend, and I think that's our policy to a certain extent in the league, to give players a chance to claim a place on our panel of 30. And from what we've seen already, and we've seen a lot of the colleges games, CIT, UCC, the Garda and so on, and there's a lot of talent out there, and that's our job now to pick the best 30 players for the championship, really.
Yeah, it does look like there'll be a lot of competition there again this year, Ger, and as you mentioned him there, Aidan Walsh made a very, very good impression last weekend. I mean, lots of good young players coming up. I suppose Colm O'Neill stole the headlines from a young player's point of view last year. Would you be hoping that Aidan Walsh could do something similar this year?
Oh, I've no doubt. We've huge confidence in him, and he's going to be a big player and a good player for Cork for the future. And I suppose, look, we'd all like to win, and we'd like to be able to have a steady team going from year to year. But our duty as a management team is to bring players along, and whenever we hand over the reins, we hand it over in a healthy position. And I think Cork football is in a healthy position now, but at the same time we need to keep developing these younger players. And from what we've seen at this stage, they'll do themselves justice, and they're well up to it.
And you mentioned Owen Cadigan as well earlier on, Ger. He's a guy now he's gonna tog out for the hurlers this year as well, I believe. And there's a couple of occasions during the league where the footballers will be playing on Saturday evening and the hurlers will be out in action the following Sunday. Is it going to be a bit of tug of war between yourselves and Dennis Walsh for Owen Cadigan?
Well, no, I don't think it is. To a certain extent, it is. But Conor has an understanding now with Dennis that depending on what's on and how much pressure we're under. I suppose our goal for in the league this year is to establish ourselves as a Division 1 team. Maybe no more than that. No, as time goes on, maybe our goal might change. But the 2 points last weekend was of great benefit to that extent. So depending on how we get on and see how the hurlers get on, because I suppose we're a footballing county, we're a hurling county too, and we'd like to see the hurlers doing well. But and look, we'll play Owen again this weekend. He'll have 2 games with the footballers. We'll size him up and we'll see what he's capable of doing, and we'll make a judgment. And I've no doubt but that Owen will be in our plans come the latter stages of the league and come the championship. And look, if he's on the hurling, I think he can mix both of them. He's a very fit and he's very committed. So I think that there wouldn't be a problem. It was done in the past. People would say that it's more difficult to do it now, but I think if you've a good understanding between the 2 management teams and the 2 managers, that he can play with both.
Yeah, and I suppose the other side of that is that Michael Cusson has decided to throw his lot in with the hurlers for this year. Maybe he didn't feature with the footballers as much as he did last year, or last year as much as he did in previous years, excuse me. But Is he a player you'll miss still? I mean, he could make a very good impact. I suppose he was a different option for the footballers as well.
Yeah, he was a different option. I suppose Michael is different to the extent that he's just a qualified guard, and we know from other members of the team that they're restricted in the hours that they can train and that they can play. And we felt, and I suppose Michael felt, and Dennis Welch felt that he could only give his allegiance to one, either the footballers or the hurlers, and Dennis took him on this year. So that's fine by us. But we'll keep an eye on Michael, and we'll see how he'll develop. And I think that he'll have a future yet in years to come if he's committed to the footballers.
Yeah, no, just turning to Saturday's opponents now, Ger. Obviously, you're taking on Kerry, a side you know plenty about. Did you get a chance to look at the Dublin game last weekend? Obviously, a disappointing defeat for them, but they were missing quite a few players. Yeah,
I saw it on Monday night on DVD, and I thought it was an entertaining game. We had played Dublin in a challenge game the previous week, and I knew that Dublin would be well up for it. Of course, they got the hiding from Kerry and Croke Park, so that would have been in the back of their minds. And as you say, Kerry were missing a huge amount of their regular players. The O'Sheas were missing, the three O'Sheas, Michael McCarthy, Tom Sullivan, the Gooch, Ger O'Sullivan, and then they have a few injured at the moment. They have Brian Sheehan, Morden, they've Aidan O'Shea. They have a lot of them injured at the moment. Now, I don't think that, from what I know, that a lot of these players won't be back. So they'll be experimenting to a certain extent again this weekend, a bit like ourselves. But look, we know from previous years and looking at their under-21 teams that they have strength and depth, and they will be using this as an opportunity to try out players also. So I think that I'd say we'd be 50-50. Also, Kerry are a bit like ourselves, they're a bit behind the others in relation to training and fitness. They only came back from holidays early January. We were much the same, came back in the middle of January. And but they'll, after a while, they'll get things going and they'll pick up a few points, and they'll be there or thereabouts in the league again.
Yeah, and you mentioned there, Ger, that you did kind of take a bit of time off after the All-Ireland final came back in January. Do you notice that the hunger is back there now again after that break? Is the hunger in the camp and amongst the players?
Well, I think it is, and I think it's no different to any other year, really. I suppose we've taken our fair share of knocks down through the years. And, I think that when you turn the 1st of January any year, you forget about the past to a certain extent, and you put it in the back of your mind, and you look forward and you drive on. And from what I've seen in training, it's no different this year. They're a great bunch of guys to work with, hugely committed. The amount of effort they put in is huge. And coming looking at this weekend and maybe take the opportunity to encourage people to come out and support. I think there could be a great night's entertainment in Parkering next Saturday night, and I think that the Munster Council and the GA have brought in a scheme where juveniles come free. So I think that it might be a night to wrap up and come along and enjoy the fair.
Just very finally, Ger, just winding the clock back to September, and we all remember how disappointed you all were after the All-Ireland final defeat to Kerry. The players obviously were absolutely devastated. Would it be fair to say that this year, in 2010, that anything less than an All-Ireland win would be a disappointment?
Well, I suppose I look at it a bit different to maybe other people, but I know going back to Billy Morgan's time, Billy's main aim was to have Cork up in the top 4, 5, 6 teams in the country on a regular basis, and maybe winning the odd All-Ireland, maybe National League now and again. Now, naturally enough, we were very, very disappointed after the All-Ireland, but I suppose we learned from life that you get your knocks, and it's how you react to the knocks. It's important. I think that this team has shown that they've got the knocks, but they get back up and they come back fighting again. And I wouldn't put a huge amount of pressure on the players to bring back Sam in 2010. What I would like to think is, and I would be confident that in the coming years, I think that Cork will win an All-Ireland, whether it is with this group of players or a mixture of this plus the guys coming in. But I think that it's only around the corner. But I wouldn't put too much pressure on 2010. It would be great to do it, but I think that we need to make more progress. We're back in Division 1. You learn a lot from Division 1. And you just take the champions come, because there's no guarantee that we get to Croke Park, there's no guarantee that Kerry will get to Croke Park. All I'd expect from the players is to give it 100%, and any day they go out and wear the Cork jersey and to be proud of it. Red FM.